new week, fresh start, all that jazz. The title of this video, of course you already saw it, but is What Now? So what now? Where do we go from here? We've already talked about feminism, obviously its ill effects on society, the many ways in which it is flawed. Things are, we know what the status quo is. The question is, what do we do now? Is there anything to be done? And that's the focus of this video. The Man Who Fell to Earth. I really don't want to stay on this topic any longer than necessary, but I got a lot of comments and personal messages from some of you saying, you shouldn't respond to this guy, he's a troll, he's wrong, he's just trying to provoke a response out of you. And I do understand that. First of all, I wanted to forgive the guy, and I wanted him to know that that's the way I felt about it. I wanted to use him to prove some of my points. Namely, the fact that feminists are not pro-women. Feminists are the real misogynists in a strange, twisted sort of way, if you want to look at it that way. He kind of proved this in his video. So I don't necessarily intend to make responses to irrational people a habit, but if I see an opportunity, I'm bound to take it, and this is one of them. So, thanks a bunch for your responses as well. And to anyone else out there who may find my views on feminism nauseating or terrifying, to you I say this.
You can't handle the truth!
A few things before I get started. I wanted to tell you all about the book The Flip Side of Feminism. I don't know if you can see it there. But anyway, I just received this from my dad for my birthday. It's actually my birthday today. And he knew that I had really wanted the book, and I read excerpts from it, and it's just outstanding. It's by Suzanne Venker and Phyllis Schlafly, who is an amazing woman. It's amazing what she's put up with and the kind of example and role model that she is for all women everywhere. But it's called The Flip Side of Feminism, What Conservative Women Know and Men Can't Say, meaning what men aren't allowed to say. I wanted to read two semi-random letters of feedback that I received, one in the positive and one in the negative. One is from a man who says, "Wow, as a man who grew up with two sisters and an extremely feminist mother who spent all the years after my father's death, he died when I was 7, telling me how much of a waste of space men were. It is a pleasure to see someone who talks so much sense. I live in Scotland, which is one of the more old-school countries in the world, but more and more we are seeing this. We're seeing a whole mess of men and women whose genders are being eroded in the name of God knows what. You put more sense into your words than I've seen in a long time. Thanks for the words of hope." And it's for men like this, as well as all women everywhere, that I speak out against feminism. I really have to look no further than my own father and my own brothers to feel a great deal of grievous injustice over the kind of world that they have to live in. And certainly the stories that I hear and male acquaintances of mine only prove the point. Next message is actually a channel comment from someone who calls himself Carl Smith00. Now I ended up blocking this fellow after noticing that he posted much of the same tripe on the walls of fellow female anti-feminists. But he says, "You don't even know what feminism is. Where is your solidarity?" Okay, beware, because when people start using the word solidarity, they're probably into the Marxist doctrine. He says, "Do you like voting?" Yes, I love voting, and I do it faithfully because I have the opportunity. But if we lived in a time when the man of the house cast the vote for the household, you wouldn't see me pitching a hissy fit. Do you like the fact that you have access to birth control? Haha, well, considering the fact that the first man I sleep with will be the man that I marry, no, I can't say that I have any use for birth control right now. Oh, how radical! It's unhealthy. It's wrong to suppress those desires. Maybe you just have no sex drive. When you finally do get married, you're going to be sexually retarded. No, I actually have reason to believe that it works the other way. And when you seek pleasure everywhere, you find it nowhere. He says, "What is wrong with you?" Well, there are many things wrong with me, but I don't think that my stance on feminism is one of them. You're one of those women who has to pretend to hate feminism in order to get guys to like you. I'm not going to go after that one again. Probably nothing but daddy issues. See, the funny thing is, there is no man on earth who I respect and admire more than my father, and to whom I am closer. He is the man, and I try never to let him forget it. To continue, move to Saudi Arabia and see if you like it. Hilarious thing again there, I have lived in the Middle East, buddy, and actually I found it really refreshing. You have no place online. Every idiot has a place online, so if they're going to put their opinions out there, I'm going to put mine out as well. Thank you. Practice what you preach, otherwise you're just a hypocrite. If anyone would like to point out to me any way in which I'm a hypocrite, I genuinely, sincerely want to hear it. In my last video, Backlash, in talking about the response of men to feminism, I forgot to mention one major thing that I'm seeing more and more of. And in fact, when I first joined YouTube, I saw a YouTube channel by a guy whose channel name was Wisdom Through Logic. And he was talking about his bad experiences with the Western woman, specifically American women. He finally came to the conclusion that the West has nothing to offer men as far as women, relationships, marriage. And he wanted to get married. I remember in one of his episodes, one of his videos, he held up a passport and said, guys, basically, this is your ticket to sanity, to a decent woman who will respect you. Turns out he did just that. He moved out of the country, married a foreigner, and now has, I think, a couple children, or at least one, and is very, very happy with his marriage. So I'm incredibly happy for him. I'm also incredibly sad that he had to resort to that. It's truly pitiful. It's a shame, but, you know, I can't blame him at all. I've actually gotten several messages from guys asking, do you think it would be a lack of morals for me to go outside the country, to marry a foreigner, and ditch the Western woman? And I say no, absolutely not. It's really too bad. You know, as an American woman, I think it's a shame that guys have to look outside this box, this feminist box. But if that's where we are, if that's reality, then there you go. I do hope, however, that women will start waking up to the lie that is feminism, and that you guys who also realize that the emperor is wearing no clothes will get the kind of woman that you deserve. So what now? I'm declaring a code blue if it has not already been said, and a code blue is a hospital code for a patient which requires immediate resuscitation, usually due to, let's say, a cardiac arrest. They're in dire straits, in a desperate situation, and that's where we are. That's where Western society is when it comes to feminism. It's time to take off the gloves. It's time to come out swinging. I'm not going to, take the completely Ann Coulter approach. I don't believe in insults, and I don't believe in too many generalizations or demonizing and ostracizing the other side. I believe in, instead, convincing them, if it's at all possible. If not, then too bad. But we do what we can, and we do it diplomatically. There are, however, moments for rage, and you've certainly seen me displaying those. Aside from activism and obviously standing up, speaking out against the lie, I think that the biggest voice is the simplest one that you use every day. There's a saying that goes, preach the gospel always, use words when necessary. Obviously that's in relation to Christianity, the gospel. But I think it applies here as well. What you do, the way you live, the way you act, speaks a lot louder than what you say. For the women out there embracing your femininity, for the men out there embracing your masculinity, that speaks more in this androgynous, unisex world than all the debating ever could sometimes. To women I say the following. Examine yourselves. Watch your attitude. Start asking yourself a very important question, and that is, why? The next time you're tempted to male bash right along with your female friends, ask yourself why you're doing it. Ask yourself what you are accomplishing, aside from making yourself feel better, and not really that. Ask yourself, what are the results of this? Is this demeaning men really going to turn them into the kind of men that you respect and love to interact with, or is it just going to tear them down? Also, changing male behavior and thinking, unless you are a mom with sons, is not up to you. You are, however, influential as women. Men will react to the way you act. The way you think, the way you dress, they all affect men. Whether it's for the better or for the worse is up to you. Something as simple and supposedly unimportant as how you dress. This is just an example. Girls these days do not know how to dress femininely and attractively without being sexy. Not saying there's something inherently wrong with being sexy. Time and place, people. It's the difference between looking like a flower and looking like a sandwich, to quote my dad. My daughters are allowed to look pretty in public. They are not allowed to look sexy. That's what he said when I was growing up. He said, the difference is that one of them makes you just want to look, the other makes you want to take a bite. The man is profound and full of wisdom like this. Respect men who embrace masculine virtues. Appreciate them. Work with them instead of finding yourself embattled with them all the time. Men, I know you're in a difficult position, sometimes an impossible position. But I say, grab those leadership opportunities by the horns. Yeah, you're going to be going against the system, and it's a daily, sometimes hourly fight. But that is where we are. And it's not a fair fight. Injustice is the word of the day. You're going to lose a lot of these battles in the workplace, for example. That's no reason not to fight. I know it's easy for me to say, but the feminists need to know that you're out there and that you have not been silenced. You may not win the battle, but they need to know that you're still going to put up the fight. Trust me, it makes them think twice, whether they admit it or not. Also, I would exhort you to encourage women who stand against feminism, and don't give the time of day to those who don't. Both genders need to come to the realization that appreciation and respect for the opposite sex is something that has been completely lost, something that we need to bring back. And truly some of the biggest battles are the ones that you fight daily. You know, the situation where someone says something wrong, something anti-male, and you step up and you speak out against it. You may not win that argument. They need to know that not everyone is drinking the Kool-Aid. If the good people sit down and they don't say anything, everyone then assumes that the radical feminist tripe is the word of the day. That is how it is. That is reality, when it is not. As Abraham Lincoln said, to sin by silence when they should protest makes cowards of the best of men. And women for that matter. But the point of this is to encourage those of you who have been fighting the good fight to continue on, and those of you who have sat by in apathy to stand up and let your voice be counted. I can tell you right now that it's not going to make you popular, except among the right kinds of people. I've talked a significant amount in previous videos about the media's portrayal of males in general, especially men, grown men, and they always make, women and children out to be the geniuses, and men out to be the idiots, the stumbling, bumbling buffoons, who would never survive if not for the witty input of their girlfriends, wives, children, what have you. Now there's a quote that goes, future generations will look back on TV as the lead in the water pipes that slowly drove the Romans mad. Certainly nothing illustrates that better than the following commercial. I want to say it makes me angry, but really it makes me more sad than anything.
That is awesome. Look how fast that is. So it's kind of encyclopedia-ish.
It is an encyclopedia. No wish.
Tom, I thought you were going to watch the dog.
Yes. She's working on a school project. I'm kind of helping her out.
Tom, leave her alone. Tom!
This TV commercial was actually pulled from the air by Verizon under pressure from his side, which is a men's rights organization led by activist Glenn Sachs. The campaign against the ad was endorsed by countless psychologists and family counselors, I think, because of the ad's denigration of fathers and men in general. Certainly, there are plenty of other commercials, practically every other commercial out there, like this one, that stay on the air, that people find funny, but the fact is this one did get pulled off the air due to the vigilance and the perseverance of activists and people who cared enough to do something about it. So please let that be an encouragement to you, that there is progress, things do happen, one voice does count. Sometimes all it takes is one voice. So thank you again for watching and for being involved, for putting your popularity on the line.